Good morning, everyone. I am Novimi Siliaki Rocco, a Bachelor of Science in Criminology student, and today I am going to discuss different lessons randomly from our subject, which is ethics. So, the first lesson is about morality. So, what is morality, by the way? It is a system of beliefs about what is right behavior and wrong behavior. Moral tends to be driven by personal beliefs and values. Morality is the human attempt to define what is right and wrong about our actions and thoughts, and what is good and bad about our being who we are. Morality is defined as beliefs pertaining to the difference between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. The rules of morality are not mandates or commands, they are beliefs. Laws, on the other hand, are the rules a country or community mandates its citizens follow in order to regulate society. So next topic will be moral standards. So moral standards refers to the norms which we have about the types of actions which we believe to be morally acceptable and morally unacceptable. Moral standards deal with matters which can either seriously harm or seriously benefit human beings. Moral standards involve the rules people have about the kinds of actions they believe are morally right and wrong, as well as the values they place on the kinds of objects they believe are morally good and morally bad. So next topic will be the non-moral standards. So non-moral standards refers to the rules that are unrelated to moral or ethical considerations. Either these standards are not necessarily linked to morality or by nature lack ethical sense. Basic examples of non-moral standards includes rules of etiquette, fashion standards, rules in games, and various house rules. Okay, let's move forward to the next topic, which is etiquette, policy, law, and commandment. So first is etiquette. It is a set of rules on how an individual should responsibly behave in the society. Examples are table manners such as proper use of utensils and the proper manners of eating. In a clear and simple statement of how an organization plans to handle its services, actions, or businesses, policy is a guiding rules to help with decision making. Policy is considered as law, regulation, procedure, administrative action, incentive, or voluntary practice of government and other institution policy. Third one is the law, which is a system of rules created and enforced through social or governmental institution to regulate behavior. With its precise definition, a matter of long-standing debate, it has been variously described as a science and art of justice. The example of the law here in the Philippines is the Republic Act No. 8293, or an act prescribing the Intellectual Property Code and establishing the Intellectual Property Office, providing for its powers and functions and for other purposes, otherwise known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. Lastly is the commandment. It is the rule that is to be strictly observed because it was said to be set by the divine entity, such as those in the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments is a rule that must be obeyed, especially one handed down by God. A divine rule given by God to Moses, such as the rule that thou shalt not kill, is an example of the commandment. Next topic is the dilemma. So dilemma is a situation in which a difficult choice has to be made between two or more alternatives, especially equally undesirable ones. Thus, when you find yourself facing a problem but the solution available to you will only create another problem, or worse, create more problem, then you are facing a dilemma. Personal moral dilemma is, of course, a person has to make the difficult choice between two desirable options or contrastingly two undesirable options. It is not uncommon for a character to be faced with choosing between two positive or two negative outcomes. There are three levels of moral dilemma. So first is a personal moral dilemma. So it is your decision in a situation where there is moral conflict in the cause of either your own, that of another person, or a group of people's potential harm. Example of personal moral dilemma are running red lights. Next is where you probably won't break the laws. And also you see a person steal food from a store, and the problem with ethical behavior. Second one is the organizational dilemma, is when a member or members of the organization is in a situation where there is a moral conflict and the decision will potentially harm either some member of the group or the entire organizational itself. So lastly is the structural moral dilemma, is when a person or group of person who holds high-level position in the society faces a morally conflicting situation wherein the entire social system is affected. Example, there is a controversy in the social security system. In 2016, the SSS member have been asking for 2,000 pesos SSS pension increase. Several lawmakers supported the call because they see that it will benefit the senior citizen members. On the other hand, the SSS executive opposed it, saying the institution cannot sustain such amount in long run, and the SSS will go bankrupt in 2024. Being the President of the Philippines, the final decision was in the hands of the Pres Benigno Aquino II. So let's move forward to the next topic, which is animal ethics and human ethics. So what is animal ethics? Animal ethics is a branch of ethics which examines human-animal relationship, the moral consideration of animals, and how non-human animals ought to be treated. Animal ethics, also active involvement and attention to animal ethics, has the potential to have significant impact on domestic and global conditions within our society and our environment. Animal rights is the movement to protect animals from being used or regarded as property by human beings. So example of animal ethics and animal rights are no experiments on animals, and no breeding and killing animals for food or clothes or medicine, and no use of animals for hard labor, and also no selective breeding for any reason other than the benefit of the animal, and so on. On the other hand, human ethics is a system of moral principles. They affect how people make decisions and live their lives. Ethics is concerned with what is good for individuals and society, and is also described as moral philosophy. Let's move forward to the next topic, which is instinctive behavior. Instinctive behavior is an action in an organism that is performed by all members of their species. They are typically a fixed action pattern that occurs as a result of specific stimulus. Instinctive behaviors are innate abilities. They occur and are present from birth onward and are not learned behaviors. Looking forward to the next topic, which is rational behavior. It refers to a decision-making process that is based on making choices that result in the optimal level of benefit or utility for an individual. The assumption of rational behavior implies that people would rather take actions that benefit them versus actions that are neutral or harm them. Rational behavior is something that makes sense or that could be based in fact, or someone who behaves and thinks logically. An example of rational behavior is a person who apologizes after an argument when he knows he was at fault. Moving forward to the last topic of my discussion, we will tackle about the Lawrence Kohlberg's theory. So Lawrence Kohlberg's research focused on the moral development of children, particularly on how they develop a sense of what is right and wrong, as well as justice. He observes that children move through what he believes as definite stages of moral development. Kohlberg defined 3 levels of moral development: the pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional level. Each level has 2 distinct stages. Stage 1, which is pre-conventional, obedience and punishment orientation. Like, how can I avoid punishment? Stage 2, which is exchange of favor. Recognize that the others have needs, but make satisfactions of own needs a higher priority. Stage 3, a good boy and a good girl. Make decision on the basis of what will please others. Concerns about maintaining interpersonal relations. Stage 4, which is law and order. Look to the society as a whole for guidelines about behavior. Think of rules in an flexible and exchangeable. Stage 5, which is social contract. Recognize that rules are social agreements that can be changed when necessary. Lastly, the stage 6, which is universal ethical principle. Adhere to a small number of abstract principles that transcend specified concrete rules. Answer to an inner conscience. This moral development is the process through which children develop proper attitude and behaviors towards other people in society, based on social and cultural norms, rules, and laws. Well, I guess that's all. Thank you for listening and have a good day.